We're in the last half of 2023, and if you're watching the news, watching some YouTube videos, looking at headlines, there's a possibility you might think that the market is going to crash. This is a third part in a series that I'm doing 4 in the last half of 2023, like a market update. Will the market crash, nationally in 23? And then on part 4, I'm going to dive specifically into Tulsa and show you our Tulsa data. So I've covered in the first video, I covered why we're not going to have, a mass of foreclosures. In the second video, I covered how mortgage rates are going to have an effect on the housing market. And today I'm going to talk about pricing in the housing market, appreciation, depreciation, and inventory. So if this is your first time to our channel and you want to know everything that there is to know about living in Tulsa, Oklahoma, or any of the surrounding suburbs, then tap that little bell notification and subscribe. That way you can be the first to know what's going on in our local Tulsa area real estate market. I'm Sabrina Shaw, and I am a local real estate agent here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And my team and I get calls every single day from people just like you who need help buying and selling a home in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And let me tell you, we absolutely love it. So whether you're moving in 9 days, 90 days, 9 months, give us a call, send us a text, shoot us an email, jump on a Zoom call, and we would love to help you make that seamless move to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Now again, I told you this is more national data, but my point in doing these is because there are definitely people that are sitting on the sidelines, for several reasons, but I want your decisions to be made, from an education perspective and not out of fear. My background is education, and again, I just want you to make decisions on knowing the market, understanding the data, and not on fear, because headlines are deceiving and people are purposely deceiving, purposely terrifying, purposely taking information out of context to suit the agenda. And I just want you to see what's going on. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about pricing and where buyers, where consumers, individuals think that home prices are heading. So this is a percentage of Americans. This is a survey that's taken every year. And I think they started it back in 2010. My next graph, shows that. But at the end of each December, they ask consumers where they think home prices are headed. Oh yeah, 2010, it's on this graph. Okay, well, look at this. 37% of people in December thought that home prices will go down in the next 12 months. Okay, that's more than it's ever been. 2008, 2009, they weren't doing that. They started that in 2010, which was still high. This is when we were having 2010, 2012. We're, still having the aftermath of 2008. So 37% of consumers think that home prices are going to go down. And again, just putting this in a different way on consumer pricing back in 2010. So, the aftermath of the housing crash, was very high. Pandemic, it was high. But June 2023, it's getting less, okay? You can still see that people way more than, normal or average are thinking that housing prices are going to go down. That is because of headlines. It's just like I've been, preaching about, and I hope you guys don't feel like I'm on a soapbox. It's ridiculous. It's just the nature of the beast of, our 24-hour news and headlines and things that we see that has consumer confidence down. And we need to be educated, because I think people are going to keep waiting and keep pressing to the sidelines. And I think that's going to hurt people. I think it's going to hurt people because yes, our interest rate's going to go down. Yes, at some point they will. Are housing prices really going to go down? We're not seeing that. And let me show you why. So we're down from 37% in January, December. Now June, we're at 26%. So 1 in 4 people still think homes will depreciate. I talk to people, I'm a real estate agent, I'm a professional. I talk to people all the time. And yes, I still have people say that the housing market is going to crash. Now, some people still decide to buy because it's the right thing for their family. And some people just, are not going to listen. And I think those people are going to be hurt. That's my opinion. I don't have a crystal ball, but I think, just that mindset is going to cause people to totally be knocked out of being able to buy a house or buying a house more affordably. Are we ever going to get back to where we were in 2020, 2021? No, there's no way. Home prices have appreciated so much. And because of lack of supply, because builders have been underbuilding for so long, because our population keeps growing, our supply is going to be years and years and years and years and years and decades really before, housing supply catches up. So facts shatter fear. I want to clarify your terrifying headlines. Okay, now listen to this. This is an expert who was projecting pretty sharp home price. I'm tongue-tied. Here is an expert who predicted some pretty serious home price depreciation. And I want to read this to you, and of course I want you to see it, but as inventory picked up sharply in 2022, and if you watched my market update from part 2, I show you this slide. I adjusted my outlook in October 2022 and wrote, house prices, 7 years in purgatory. I noted that a 10% decline in nominal prices now seemed likely. However, so he was saying, based on that graph that I showed you, yeah, I have it here next. Actually, let me just show it to you. Based on this graph where it looked like we were gonna have where it looked like we were gonna go straight on with a lot of housing inventory, a lot of houses on the market, okay? He said that's why he did a 10% decline. However, the inventory surge in 2022 was somewhat of a head fake. Let me show you, look, it went up, and then it dropped down, okay? Total head fake. It was not on that initial trajectory. Some potential sellers quickly listed their homes, probably remembering what happened with house prices in 2006 to the 2011 period, but that surge ended pretty quickly. So what people were thinking and baking on is they thought, there's gonna be this economic crisis because interest rates were going up. People are gonna just put their houses on the market. It's gonna, flood the market. Well, they weren't thinking about affordability. They weren't thinking about how high prices have gotten, what a good situation they were in, how people have like the greatest affordability, almost that we've ever had in the nation with your percentage that goes to housing as we've ever had. This very excellent affordability. Like I said, new listings, they were expecting them to skyrocket based on this graph because this is May where seasonally, okay, this is 2017, 2018, 2019, normal markets, and this is what seasonally happens. In May is when you have your highest amount of listings, okay? Then it starts decreasing all the way till December. So this is what they were seeing, and so they were making the line that it was gonna keep going up to where we were gonna even get more inventory than we've seen in 2017, 2018, 2019, which was our last normal markets. But listings dropped dramatically. People are not letting go of that affordability. And again, just to touch, people thought the recession and the end of the moratorium was going to equal foreclosures. This was foreclosures in the first 6 months, foreclosure filings. 2008, we're at 1.3 million, 1.5 million. 2023, we're at 186,000. Now, I've already gone over this very detailed. I'm just going to touch on these quickly to give you a full recap. Part 4 is going to be specifically over Tulsa data, but I just want to go over this quickly. There were headlines saying that there was like 186% increase in foreclosure filings. Okay, again, I'm going to go over this for you quickly because I've covered this in part 1, I've covered this in part 2, but I'm just giving you a quick recap. Okay, height of 2010, 1.7 million foreclosure filings. Okay, 186,000 now. And has it increased? Yes. 2021 was a moratorium. Of course it increased. We basically couldn't foreclose then. Look at this. Serious delinquencies are on the decline. Okay, this is the percentage of mortgage loans that are 3 months or more behind on payments. Okay, look at this. Since January of 2022, they are down like completely. May's overall mortgage delinquency rates were an all-time low. And then, so this is interesting, they said the rate of mortgages that were 6 months or more past due, a measure that ballooned in 2021, okay? So because of COVID, because of the moratorium, the mortgage delinquencies ballooned. They got bigger, okay? But that level has receded to a level observed, last in March of 2020, which was pre-pandemic. Okay, so what actually happened with home prices in 2022? Okay, what we're looking at, a 48-year average monthly price movement, okay? This is going from 1973 to 2021, okay? And this is an average, and this is an average appreciation. And this is month over month, so there's seasonality with that. And this is what I really want people to understand too, because your spring months, April, May, June, July, you're appreciating more. The homes are selling for a higher price. When it's the slower season, that, happens every year, the houses don't appreciate as much. Deceleration of appreciation. It's not depreciation, okay? This is a 22% price movement. So we had people predicting that we were going to have, 10% depreciation, 20% depreciation. Here's what actually happened. So this is 2022. This is when we started seeing a change in interest rates. And this is the 40-year average. The appreciation, the month-over-month appreciation for 22 was not normal all the way until about June. Okay, now those mortgage rates are setting in. If you looked at, how many showings went down for a little bit. Again, seasonally expected, but it did correspond with mortgage rates too. And so then we saw slight depreciation. And I was telling you, and I've been telling you, what we're going to see, and this is nationwide, okay, it's not in Tulsa, this is nationwide. I said we're going to see, basically we're going to come out of this with slight appreciation, slight depreciation, or flat appreciation, okay? And that's what happened. These are normal years, month over month. So 0.4, 0.3, 0.2, 0.1, okay? What we got was -3, -1.1, -1, 0.6, 0.8. So we saw small negative appreciation, not a crash at all. And more really what we would say a correction, because these appreciated so high. And we know that, 2020, 21, 20, part of 22 were just kind of like those unicorn years. Like we can't really judge the housing market off of those years because it was so unprecedented. Okay, so now home prices in 2023. Again, the 48-year average, 1973 to 2021, our normal month-over-month appreciation. And again, when you look at this, this is called deceleration. I don't know why I have so much trouble with that word. Deceleration of appreciation. Okay, now let's look at 2023, what's happened so far in 2023. We're only at May. That's the thing, is it does take a little bit to get all our data, so we're only at May. But, we had January, we had that 0.5% of depreciation. Then this is 2023. Now look, not depreciation, slight appreciation. Over appreciation than normal. Over appreciation than normal. That's about normal, 0.9 to 1.2, not too different, okay? But we're seeing those price appreciations again. This was Case-Shiller, okay? And there are several other ones. This is FHFA, CoreLogic. And again, those same things, the appreciation, the month-over-month appreciation, the depreciation, the flat, and then climbing back up. Again, Zillow, Black Knight, Freddie Mac, just to show you that there is more, like we're pulling from more than one source. We're not just cherry picking here. Okay, now this, and I don't know if you can see this real well because it's in white, and I apologize for that. Appreciation has skyrocketed last year. Case-Shiller, does like the top 20 cities, and they don't keep track of every city. But these are the cities they're tracking. And so the national appreciation for cities is 41.8%. That is crazy. And I know a lot of people are like, oh my goodness, that's crazy. It's not sustainable. Like the market's got to crash. We've got to correct. Yes, it's high, but because people had those interest rates, affordability was just, like I said, off the chart. So people that bought, and even if they bought higher, even if they paid over, they're still really better off with that mortgage rate that's lower, and they captured great appreciation. And then Andy Walden, who is the VP of Enterprise Research at Black Knight, says there's no doubt that the housing market has reignited from a home price perspective. Firming prices have now fully erased the pullback we tracked through the last half of 2022 and lifted the seasonally adjusted Black Knight HPI to a new record high in May. Okay, so again, these were the forecast. So these are current forecast and appreciation for 2023 for year end, okay? These were original forecast. Remember, we had that 37% people that thought prices were going down. These were experts that thought that too, and I showed you why. MBA, 6%. Fannie Mae thought they were gonna go down 1.5%. Morgan Stanley, 4%. AEI, 15 to 20%. Zillow, less than 1%. CoreLogic thought they were gonna appreciate 3%. Okay, here's our current forecast now. MBA is still flat appreciation. Fannie Mae is at 3.9% appreciation. Morgan Stanley flat. AEI, who was between 15 and 20%, is now saying 6% appreciation. They were saying 15 to 20% decrease. Zillow, 5.5% appreciation. CoreLogic, 6.8% appreciation. So all those forecasts have increased of what they think appreciation is going to be as opposed to depreciation. Again, deceleration of appreciation is not the same thing as home prices are depreciating. But people are going to use these numbers because in May, an average of which it's going to be probably around the same. This is the average over 48 years. But they're going to say, I mean, we're in August, September, October, November, December. That's the lowest deceleration. It's not depreciation, okay? But the headlines are going to make it look like that. And so that is the main thing that I want to get out there about pricing. That's going to wrap up that part of pricing. And basically what I'm telling you is appreciation is going to continue. Interest rates, we can't predict them. We absolutely can't predict them. But based on the 10-year treasury yield and what usually happens once Powell gets that, price index number down to 2%, then the Fed will probably start taking their foot off the gas, because that's the goal. That's where they want. That's where they want to be. And then we should see mortgage rates follow. Do I ever think we're going to get 2%, 3%, maybe even 4% again? I don't think so. I think if you got that, like, fantastic for you. If you didn't, I mean, you can kick yourself, but what's it going to do? It's not going to change anything. So what you can change is the decisions you're making, right now. So what I see happening, what makes sense to me, is I have people telling me they think the market's going to crash. We see that people think prices are going to depreciate. If you've watched my 2 videos before this and what I'm saying, I feel like you'll understand why the market doesn't support depreciation. And so what I see happening is rates getting down, between that 5% and 6%. All the buyers that have been waiting on the sidelines, all the sellers who have put their plans to, move up buy on hold, see that happening again. Seeing them come into the market. What's that going to do? Competition. Okay, I guess I'll talk about it now. There is strategy that you can do. I know you don't want to buy with a high mortgage rate. Like, that completely sucks. Like, it makes me want to cuss. It's horrible, but it is what it is. Okay, but there are things you can do. There's new construction. They are doing like 2-in-1 buy downs, 3-in-1 buy downs. They'll buy down your rate to where you can get an affordable rate for the first year. It might increase the second. It's not an adjustable rate mortgage. It's a buy down. Increase the second year, increase, a little bit the third year, but still not paying that normal mortgage amount that you would be paying right now. And I am not an economist. I am not a legal expert. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not giving you financial advice, legal advice, lender advice. I'm giving you my opinion here. Okay, so there's buy downs, there's 2-in-1 buy downs. There's even 30-year buy downs. And get this, I know a lot of people want to put a lot of money down. Well, I was just listening to an expert and they're saying that the more money you put down, the higher the interest rate is. So they're actually having a lower interest rate with, the people that are putting 5% down. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense. But because if you watch the last video, you see they're not making any money now. So they want people to take out more of a loan. Is that scary for you? Because you're like, oh, people aren't going to have equity. They're going to have negative equity. That's something. That makes sense. But you still have to be a qualified buyer. They're still going to, they learn their lesson. There are tons of overlays and things in place to where you have got to be qualified to borrow. So in some price ranges, we are seeing sellers make concessions. A lot of times it's because the house is not show ready and the seller is still, thinking that you can put anything on the market, and you can't. So even though we are in a housing shortage, buyers are being more aware. They're spending a lot more money. And so they do want their house ready. So we are seeing sellers give concessions. We're seeing prices go down. So there's some ways to work out the math. And that's why you should have an absolutely wonderful lender and someone that will go through the scenarios with you. I have a couple that I recommend that will say, okay, you can do a buy down. This is what your payments will be. And I don't know that I finished that, but on like a 2-1 buy down, the third year you'll have your normal payment. And could payments be lower to where you could refinance? Hopefully that they will be. We can't predict the future, but hopefully. But if you do get in now and you do something like that, you're not going up against as many multiple offers. Now, in certain price ranges, guys, we still have multiple offers. Now, there is not as many as there were in the height when mortgage rates were lower, but we still have multiple offers. We still have over asking. We still have as is. It is still happening. Not as prevalent, but it is still happening in certain price ranges. And builders are giving great incentives. So look at the video that I did on new construction, the pros and cons of new construction. And, there are, new construction can be an affordable option. So if you're waiting on the sidelines because of mortgage rates and because of pricing, I would say talk to somebody. We could talk. You could reach out to me, talk to me or someone on my team, talk to you about different scenarios and have you talk to a lender to see, is it possible to do this? What does this mean for you? Because there are scenarios out there. ARMs are starting to come back, adjustable rate mortgages. And those have a really bad, people have a bad taste in their mouth from them. And I do too. The only ARM that I've loved was the doctor's loan, because I really love, there's a couple that I really love. And it is an adjustable rate mortgage, but you got to think those doctors are doing their residency, and we know they're going to be making more money. So an adjustable rate is fine for them. They get closing costs paid, certain ones get closing costs paid, plus a little bit. They're just absolutely phenomenal loans, but they're only offered to, like people going in a doctor program, like medical residents and that sort. And Tulsa's got some, I've had a handful of clients, that are medical residents and, relocating to move, to go to OU Tulsa. OSU Tulsa has a medical program too. So, there's several options there. But back to just options. So don't sit in the sidelines thinking that you're going to just wait for interest rates to go down, because prices are going to keep appreciating. Okay, so bottom line that I've just kind of talked my way all the way through. Okay, I know I just talked about the doctors and the ARMs, and there are ARMs out there. They're not really getting a big enough spread, so they're not really worth it. So an ARM really isn't anything to entertain from what I've seen, and I'm not an expert in them, but it's not necessarily worth it enough unless you are that doctor student. So bottom line, it looks like prices are going to keep appreciating. When interest rates do go down, you're going to have more competition. So you are going to be paying more for a house when you could get in now and refinance that rate. So there we go on that. Now let's talk about inventory. Inventory is still historically low. Okay, now this is a national average of week over week. So for, about the first time, July 28th, we saw a 1.9% increase in inventory. The same week in 2019, there was 50% less. The same week in 2022, there was 8.8% less. Okay, so we are getting new inventory, but we are in a housing shortage. There's simply not enough homes for sale, and the market can easily absorb a doubling of inventory. Okay, so that was rather long, and I have just touched on inventory. So the last part of the series, will the market crash in the last part of 2023, will be local data. I'll go over a little bit of national inventory in, our market, and then I'll go over local data so you can see the inventory here in Tulsa and how that affects home prices. And I hope this video was helpful. And if it was, please give it a like. Please feel free to comment if there's anything you want me to report or ask a specific question that I maybe didn't cover, or you think, well, you didn't think of this, put the comment down. Let me have a chance to answer it. If I don't know, I will talk to an expert. I will look up the information, but I definitely want to have this educated conversation. And if you are thinking about making that move to Tulsa, Oklahoma, or one of the surrounding suburbs, reach out, talk to me, talk to somebody on my team, and we would love to show you around town.